Well, hi. So, here we sit after the storm. No, I'm not just talking about the pandemic. I'm talking about all the storms of life that had come crashing down on us long before Big Bertha showed up in her mask. Well, yeah. I mean, we can give up, we can give in, we can drift into the scenery or maybe the sofa. Truth of the matter is, the pain is real, and the losses, they're great. And I know many are going to long for the old normal to return, yet deep in our hearts, we suspect those days are gone. It's easy to deny the world has changed as we sit back longing for the normal old days. But if truth be told, they weren't all that perfect, were they? But they were familiar. And that's really what we long for. You know, the familiar, it felt safe. We do have options after the storm passes, however. Theodore Geisel, aka Dr. Seuss, once wrote, "When something bad happens, you've got three choices. You can let it define you, you can let it destroy you, or you can let it strengthen you." Hi, my name is Susan Bartz Herrick. I'm a mother, wife, retired professor, full-time business owner, and I am a survivor of the storm. I have started this videocast series called New Day, New Dawn, New Normal, Reinventing Yourself After the Storm, to share with others some of the tools that helped me recover after some of the bombastic storms of mine that spanned over 15 years. You know, storms in life are inevitable, and no one is exempt. They take their tolls on us physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Some seem to survive and rebound faster than others, especially when you're younger. Some not so much. And I'll be honest, as we age, we don't bounce back the way we used to, especially after multiple squalls. We can even lose the desire to try. I know that feeling all too well. And yet, like so many of you, there was a spark left inside, unwilling to hang up, step aside, or surrender. We get up one more day in the hope of finding a new day, a new dawn, our new normal. You see, long before the pandemic, I got a divorce, lost home, income. Then I almost lost my son, first to an accident, and then to the very drugs that kept him alive. Then I buried my parents and my two good friends after taking on the role of caregiver and then walking them on their last final miles home. And just when I thought life would settle down and I could relax with my fabulous new husband, my health collapsed from all that previous stress. I mean, literally, I collapsed. First, I thought it was a stroke, then Alzheimer's, then some kind of dementia. I mean, the neurologist didn't know what to think. At hours and hours and weeks of tests, finally a prognosis came. Non-epileptic seizures due to PTSD. Wow, really? I thought that was reserved for just soldiers. No, not the case. Of course, during this time, I had a total knee replacement and all the drugs that went with that. And I was not one of the lucky ones with the knee replacement. They don't tell you that 20% of them, people are not really satisfied. That was me. Yeah, it hurt. I could hardly walk. It was so painful. I was crawling up the steps in a 2-story home. And lastly, during a routine medical procedure, my blood pressure skyrocketed. I mean, on the table. For 2 hours, the anesthesiologist, who luckily was a good friend of mine, just really fought to get it back under control. Then they discovered an aortic leak. Oh, great. Well, yeah, I also looked at my genetic profile and I was reminded that my grandmother, my kind of genetic twin, never walked unaided past the age of 57. She suffered with migraines and died from the only thing we could figure out was depression at the age of 72. She just turned her face to the wall, and that was it. And my doctor was only educated in pharmaceuticals, which, are not bad. My heavens, they saved me a couple times, but I found out from my own research that some of them were causing more problems for me than they were solving. Yeah, she and I had a chat. A lot of storms, but there was also a lot of learning. And you see, that's what I want to share with you in this series. Reinventing yourself after the storm takes courage, hope, support, and instructions. I did not do it alone. Thank heavens I had some good friends, books, counselors, and tools to help me put myself back together. Yeah, that and a ton of grace. We've got to move forward reinventing ourselves along the way. And to do that, we do need tools, education, support. Reinvention needs directions. So in this series, I'm going to cover a whole range of topics, starting with grief and depression. Why start there? What I found out. Unresolved grief can be one of the biggest stumbling blocks to healing and moving forward. Grief turned outward is anger. Grief turned inward is depression. And I'm fortunate to have a wonderful grief counselor joining us in just a couple weeks to help explain the whole process. So get your questions all ready for her. And besides mental health topics, we'll talk about physical changes that take place during times of stress and how we need to rebuild our bodies. And we can, even for those of us over 65. And there's some amazing new information about reversing the effects of aging, even Alzheimer's. I can't wait to share that with you. And we'll also talk about social changes that affect us and how we can use them for growth instead of being intimidated by them. Here's a couple topics. Personalized aging, one size does not fit all. Epigenetics, what you can change about your aging, what you can't, and how stress affects it. We'll be talking about developing fearlessness, asking some questions. Are you becoming an elder, or are you just getting older? And we'll talk about identifying our legacy, the importance of being authentic. Oh, that's big. I had this most wonderful conversation just this other week with a friend. We both just said, you've got to be true to yourself. And, we're even going to talk about some fun things like shoes, makeup. As we get older, we need a little bit more help. And it's okay to change. It's okay to kick it up. It's all about feeling good and self-care. And that's another friend I've got coming on to help. She's an expert in it. Okay, basically, this group has been put together for those who have survived the storms, and even though they're feeling windblown and tattered by the winds, are choosing to pick up pieces and create a new life. So in closing, after 5 days on life support one day after my son's accident, his nurse came in and announced that it would look like he would survive. Thank you, Lord, but that we would have a new normal. Wow, what will that look like? I asked her. That's up to you, she said. If I told you what I thought it might look like, you'd only aim for that target and then stop. If I set the target too high and you didn't get there fast enough, you'd try to quit. Yeah, we did have a new normal, and it exceeded our expectation. I knew I was not going to get back to the previous shores of my life after all the stress and all the storms in my life. It's okay that we're over. I had my turn at youth. What I wanted now is to chart new waters, new territories, find new ways of doing things, and helping others along the way. And if you know of anyone this series will help, please invite them to our Facebook group page. Then I'm also looking for stories of how you survived the storms in your life. We can all learn from each other. So now, I will leave you with the words of Shakespeare. My story starts at sea, a perilous voyage to an unknown land, a shipwreck. The wild waters roar and heave. The brave vessel is dashed all to pieces, and all the helpless souls within her drowned. All save one, a lady whose soul is greater than the ocean. Her spirit is stronger than the sea's embrace. Not for her a watery end, but a new life beginning on a stranger shore. It will be a love story, for she will be my heroine of all time, and her name will be you. Thanks.